So, what's something that like nobody knows about Rotten Sound?
Oh, did you say that nobody knows about us?
Yes, correct.
Oh. Well, I mean, uh, it might be because we've been kind of in and out, um, touring,
Yeah.
especially, and when we left Relapse and joined Season of Mist globally,
Yep.
it might feel so in North America, but then in here it seems like we have again a little better situation in Europe.
Yep.
So um, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything stupid like we suck because I think we're okay band. But it's just we never thought about marketing that aggressively. It's been more like doing our own thing,
Yeah.
and it worked out pretty well this far so far. And we had really good tours. Like the last one was a dream tour for us.
Yeah, Season of a Mist is definitely like impressed me recently because I don't know, like I tend to not really I listen to Relapse and all those big names, but like I don't know, Season of Mist has been pulling through with good bands, like super good. So, but here's a question off of that kind of. How has the band's approach from, 1997 versus right now varied over the years? Like
Mm,
recording, playing shows.
right. Well, back in 1997, we were more like a project band. We were not really playing that many shows.
Hmm.
Uh, and the band also originated as a side project for our death metal band, Vomit Risen. So
Hmm.
so we didn't like even think about it too much. We were just doing our cross grind and then started to incorporate more death metal when Vomitorism quit. So in
Right.
that sense, we just happened to be relevant for someone around Murderworks, and people started to ask us to play shows more, and that's when we started to tour.
Right.
So,
How is the scene in Finland?
well, it was more like punk and crust when we started, and that's like I said, that was how we started.
Well, how is
So
it now compared to, 1997?
well, scene questions are tough because there's so many different genres, and they are not as united in here as maybe in US. Sometimes it feels that bands are more comfortable with playing different kinds of bands with
Right.
different kind of bands. In here, it's quite separated, so that punks play with punks, metalheads play with metalheads, and then there's the commercial side too. And like
Right.
not that obsessively, but a little more than US. So because of that, there's many small subgenres, and same people seem to end up playing in different bands as usual in underground.
Gotcha. So, what is your fondest memory of playing Obscene Extreme in Czech Republic?
Oh,
that's
I don't remember
that's
them
a
all.
tough one. That's a tough
uh,
one.
oh, damn! It's been so many times. I did enjoy our D beat set when Sami broke his sort of leg, but it was like he couldn't blast because it was his right foot, so he couldn't do just left. It
Gotcha.
would have been like it would have not sounded right at all. So we ended up playing only slower songs. So that was
Oh,
fun.
I
But
see.
I mean the proper shows. Of course, the first one in 2000 was very important for us. It was the second festival so outside of Finland for us too. So and also yeah, going to
Gotcha.
Obscene Extreme for the first time was amazing for us, obviously. So
So,
I think it has to be that one.
okay. Who came up with the film theme for Peace that was on Relapse? I find that super interesting.
Oh, that just happened. It was this guy who kind of knows us, and
Yep.
he did the animation and sent it to us and asked if we want to have it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool.
Has
But
nothing to do with the song by all means. I don't think he
but that's
even
the
got the
cool part
lyrics.
about it. That's grindcore for you. You don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So, off of that, What are three things that you think grindcore sets aside from any other genre?
I think integrity is quite big thing, and there's a difference of opinion, but I'm a big fan of the founding bands.
Yep.
And to me, grindcore was a little bit more political than and having a little bit more important things to say than other extreme music.
Right.
But then I don't want to go and argue with someone who is saying that it doesn't matter what to sing if it sounds like grind. So I'm fine with that. But for me, I'm thinking that way. That's just my opinion, not the truth.
Gotcha.
A third one, I don't know.
Speed, probably. For me, like that, I think that's the biggest
No,
thing that.
I think it's a weed.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't see speed in grindcore. It's more weed.
Gotcha. So I see that you guys played a show with Full of Hell, and I know they're a bunch of young dudes. What are your thoughts on them, and do you consider them like an up and coming grind? I don't know, black and death metal band.
They're really cool and nice people, by all means. And it was really fun to finally play with them.
Yeah, they're great. I love them so much.
Yeah, good music. I think that I still haven't had enough time to really get into their material as much as I should.
Mhm.
But I'm feeling that every time any of their songs comes on my shuffle, it's kind of a little bit growing, and like I'm getting more into them all the time. But it's like,
Gotcha.
and it obviously mattered to play the shows with them. But even there, it was hard to catch them because we were like sleeping 2 hours a night, and
Wow.
grind pass had to have our naps, and we sometimes missed their set because of like just getting our ride late to the venue.
Gotcha. So, what has been the biggest highlight in being the frontman of Rotten Sound?
Mm, having to have the chance to play with those awesome guys who are in the band. Okay, right now
Right.
it's Mika and Sami, but whoever has been ever been in the band, we have a new bass player situation coming up. Actually, we haven't really spoken that much about it, but everybody saw that we had a different guy filling in for the tour. But
Gotcha.
at least we have time now to figure out who's going to be the next one.
Gotcha. So, who writes? I know Goatburner, you play guitar, and I've always been curious about Rotten Sound because you know you guys are dropping like 16 songs on a record, and you got like a continuous like album collection. You know, a lot more than a lot of bands. And do you guys collaborate on writing in that band, or is it specifically the guitar player that writes this stuff?
Earlier on, it was me and the guitar player, but when I moved to different city and the bass player number 4, Tony, joined, then they started to write more together. And then when Sami joined in drums, he started to write. And actually, Sami has done a little more than Mika in latest albums.
Gotcha.
Our drummer. So Mika and Sami are, I think right now they both have an album worth of songs, like each of them. But we are getting into filtering mode soon and find which ones we like most, and then I start to do the lyrics on them.
Gotcha.
And we spoke about me picking the guitar for us, but I also kind of feel that it's better to keep it separate because my style is a little bit more death metal anyway.
Right.
We have that, but it's more like it almost feels like they do more groovy and I do the dirtier death metal stuff.
Yeah, I feel a little bit of doom as well.
Yeah. So like that's Morbid Evils. That's my doom band also. So
Gotcha.
so when I do Goatburner and Morbid Evils, it's somehow better to keep them separate.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I also feel that they do a better job doing grindcore than me because I haven't done it since I don't know 2002. Any rips for us?
Right.
So they're more of a holding their area there, and it keeps us kind of consistent to have not to have too many songwriters,
Yeah,
and
because
that keeps it
it'll
more
sound
aggressive.
all different.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, me being a guitar player myself, I always just ask this question: what has been like the main tuning that you guys play in, and has it varied since 1997?
It's varied a lot, but it's been mostly drop tunings,
Drop
and
tunings.
it started from drop D, I think,
Okay.
and then we started to go down to C and B, and at some point we were playing shows where we started with C, and then we had the lower two songs, so we dropped to B during the set.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like C standard, and then guitar and bass drop B.
Gotcha.
And I believe it was in Rain when we had both two tunings, but after that, can't remember what was the Seal Psycho tuning. It might have been even C or B, but then it's been drop A since Murderworks.
Gotcha. Yeah, drop A is what I like to plan
Oh no,
myself.
Murderworks is probably in B.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, but we started move towards drop A, and that's where we have been staying now.
Gotcha. So I'm
That's
gonna
that's
move.
rotten sound. Like I don't know if you wanted to hear about Goatburner. When I wanted to do a standard because I've
Yep.
been always writing with standard.
Right.
Kind of feels more like what I want to do.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna move to the goat burner questions now. I've got a few for you.
Yeah.
So how did goat burner first form?
Well, the beginning of is probably coming from my frustration when the original Morbid Evils members left the doom band I have here in Turku.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of them left, and then I don't know one. I got a new guitar player, but then the drummer said that he can play shows, and it was kind of really tough. And we always had to fight who if they can go on tour. We did quite a bit in the first couple of years with that band, but then suddenly they felt that they wanted to change their lives, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't make money with the starting band. But it wasn't even about money; they were not happy touring.
Mm-hmm.
And the drummer, which I looked for a while because I wanted to be sure that there is someone who wants to hit the road. So he
Yeah.
had the same situation in Helsinki with Ratface and Bloodlands and Skull Maggot and Pikakas and his other bands. There's still more, I think. And everyone was started to have families and had their day jobs, and even if they got tour offers, they couldn't do them. But
Yeah.
he's a freelance tattoo artist and would like to do music also as like his main thing, not even as a job, but just spend his time in music by all means. So we started to think that we should. When I started to talk to him, I realized that okay, that's the guy, and he's a great drummer and really nice dude also. And haven't really written so much, but I really hope he's writing more on the next album, which we are working on now. So like he's
Gotcha.
very skillful guitar player, so I will have to practice a lot when he starts writing more.
That's like me. I have a buddy that's always like, "Hey man, I'm gonna start writing some stuff." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna have to start practicing more."
I think
uh,
that he's like more technical. He likes
yep.
Cannibal Corpse kind of stuff, and I'm coming from the primitive and grinding, and then more sludgy and with doom stuff. So
Right.
combining those both might be interesting, and also makes it be different. But I think we are free to do whatever, and that's the finest of the band, that we don't really define that well on what genre we are.
Right. Now does that separate this project versus Rotten Sounds, where you guys kind of have a standard sound that you guys are trying to achieve with that band?
Yeah,
Versus okay,
it
that
is
makes
a
sense.
bit different. I mean, there's definitely some blast beats in Goatburner, but it's not as grinding, and we have our slow moments and heavy moments, and I guess one thing is that uh, the old death metal caveman stuff is more present in our things. So like, the riff that kind of sounds like you don't know what they're doing, and maybe I don't, but purposefully doing that the power violence thing too. So
Yeah,
that's I really enjoy it, that you dare to do clumsy riffings at times, as long as it's not all the time.
right. So, do you have more enjoyment out of just being a vocalist or a multi-instrumentalist?
Both are very nice and a very good experience. I mean, being just a vocalist, I can throw myself in there a little more, at least now. But
Uh-huh.
the latest shows I've done with Goatburner felt more and more natural. So I think that the next
Okay.
tour, whenever we get to do it in 3 years or something, um, when we get to play more shows again, in addition to what we have done already, I think that it will get more comfortable. And I do enjoy playing guitar a lot, and it's been always as important instrument for me. So that it's at the same time.
Gotcha. So, as of right now, this is a question I've always wondered myself. I mean, it might be an easy answer, it might not. As of right now, which project is your main priority?
Both,
Right?
I think that, but they take time, Sarah. Like
Gotcha.
if I'm like mixing Goatburner, and then I'm mixing Goatburner, writing
Uh-huh.
lyrics and doing Rotten Sound, touring with Rotten Sound, then I'm doing that. But I never wanted to like pick my favorites in any of the bands I'm in, and
Right.
it's also like the booking situation is so that Rotten Sound, as an older band, tends to get priority because it's booked more in advance, and I'm fine with that. It's better to do it
Mhm.
that way instead of like filling schedule, uh, compulsive, like be compulsive and fill it with the other band, and then we couldn't do Rotten Sound shows, and like
Gotcha.
have kind of natural pull thing instead of pushing ourselves too much with Goatburner. But
Right.
I hope that in 2 or 3 records, um, we might end up in same festivals and stuff like that, because it's very simple for us as a duo to do that stuff anyway.
Yeah, you
And
got the gear and everything there.
yeah.
Be easy for you. So, what are you trying to do differently in this project that you've never done before?
Being very like when you have just one guitar, I can't do production wise any too many tricks. I don't
Mhm.
want to do that. So like the album is basically there's drums, and then I played one guitar with the drums live when we recorded the drums, and that was recorded, and I overdubbed it exactly the same way as the guitar played. Uh,
Gotcha.
Even when it was really tempting to add some harmonies here and there, I couldn't play them live ever. I couldn't, like, because there's not even bass to do that with.
Yeah.
So
But that's what you're trying to do. Like that's
yeah, and it does affect the songwriting obviously a lot. You need to, you're like having that one ingredient in guitar and bass. The only thing I can do, and which I also do uh, mostly in breaks, but maybe a little more on the new album at times, is to drop the bass, drop the other guitar, because I'm playing through two different guitar amps to have like with different tones. So those are the tools I want to use on the next one. And it
Gotcha.
might be so that someday in future I get a looper, but right now it seems too fancy, and it's more important to do riffs and just yell on top of them and be like as simple death metal, like riff-based approach as possible, not to
Yeah.
have too many, reverbs. I don't have any reverb or delays in my pedal board at the moment with Goatburner. It's just three signals
Straight.
to three different amps.
Is it just a straight tube amp?
No, I'm using two different amps. Another one is current solid state, like vintage PV. Another one is JGM 2000, or I'm using this one Laney Ironheart. Depends which I like
Ooh,
more. And
that's a
and
good.
then
That's a good one.
it is a okay one. And then in bass I'm having PV Mark III or SVT Classic if I feel like not too lazy to carry it around.
Right. So when you talk about bass, are you just because I've seen a band do this myself? Um, do you just use like a splitter? Because
Yeah,
obviously you don't have a bass player, right?
no. So I have a splitter for the um, solid state amp, which is I'm playing DS1 through that, which is kind of getting bit of Swedish feel, but it's more harsh than HM2. And I want to stay away from HM2 with this band because that's rotten sound anyway, and
Yeah.
it's been done. And I do actually enjoy playing this more with other things. And then I have Mega Distortion, which is like darker DS1 made for new metal originally. So it's for
Right.
low tune guitar. So that's going into tube amp to create kind of lower layer uh, in between the octavized or the bass pedals, which is octaver and another distortion, which is currently Behringer's Metal Zone
Oh,
clone.
there it is.
I also do have a Metal Zone, but I like this somehow more in the bass. It's kind of a little bit more all over.
Yeah.
But the octaver is obviously important, and I'm not using any of the. I'm using just the sub octave and
Right.
mostly um, lower frequencies, so that whenever I'm going to higher strings, it doesn't get too much like the White Stripes type of thing,
Yeah.
which is cool for them. Obviously, I do like them. It's a cool band for what they do, but then it's not really suitable for death metal.